The next chapter of this story takes us to Aberration.
This whole ark is on the verge of collapse. There's radiation, mutant creatures, toxic gas, earthquakes. Not the lush paradise that's supposed to be here.
This arc story begins with a futuristic soldier belonging to the United Republic of Earth. Diana Altares finds herself becoming the leader of a small tribe comprised of fellow soldiers, some even belonging to the Terran Federation. The tribe succeeds in establishing an outpost, pooling resources and working together to create a flight-ready version of tech armor, a futuristic suit made from the versatile substance called Element. Diana, being the most experienced pilot, uses this tech armor to leave the island they all appear to be stranded on. In hope of finding civilization, Diana sets out over the ocean, but is suddenly stopped when she collides into what appears to be an artificial shield barrier. Upon investigation, a well-known Federation hacker named Santiago theorizes that the artificial shield is preventing all communication and inhabitants from escaping the island, and concludes that the mysterious floating obelisks might be responsible. After further research, Santiago discovers that the 3 obelisks are teleportation devices and are communicating with a 4th signal high above the shield barrier. A plan is devised. A team comprised of Diana, Santiago, and a squad of soldiers is formed. Their mission is to hack an obelisk, teleport directly to the 4th signal, and destroy what's preventing their escape with the use of a bomb. As soon as the team steps through the portal, they are attacked by a shape-shifting machine. Soldiers are being taken out so fast that the bomb's fuse had to be accelerated. Diana, Santiago, and less than half of the remaining soldiers manage to dive off the platform just in time, feeling the heat from the explosion as they fall. Destroying the platform didn't just disable the barrier, it took down the entire sky, revealing that they are aboard a massive artificial island in orbit high above Earth. The surface of the island bursts into flames, the water boiling off as unfiltered sunlight and radiation destroys the surface. Survivors race for caves, seeking shelter from the deadly light. Exploration of these caves reveal vast underground cavities brimming with foliage, water, and life. Diana's tribe manages to form an operating base, outfitting themselves with tech suits and creating research labs dedicated to learn more about this strange station. A strange signal is detected coming from the world below, and Santiago hatches a plan. Maybe, with all 3 obelisks, their combined teleportation power could be rerouted to send them safely down to Earth. The scale of such a project would be colossal, taking years of work. Everyone agrees, and the Gateway project begins. Mei Yin, after defeating Nerva on the island, attempted to pull her lodge sword free of a machine, causing a bright flash of light to send her and Nerva's body here to this desolate hellscape. As the sun rises, Mei Yin notices that whatever the light touches bursts into flames. She runs, seeking shelter in a nearby cave. As she explores deeper, she finds underground caverns rich with odd creatures that emit light, and even stranger beasts capable of vanishing from sight. Mei Yin begins doing what she does best, and becomes the Beast Queen once more. She notices a set of footprints deep and spread out unusually far apart. Tracking them takes her to a strange camp of some sort of people wearing strange glowing armor. She keeps to the shadows, using her mount's camouflage abilities to stay hidden. However, the villagers converge on her location and Mei Yin prepares to defend herself. Though just before she is about to strike, one of the villagers removes their helmet, revealing a woman with hair the color of sunset. Mei Yin is brought into the camp and treated as a guest. She is curious as to how they were able to see her through the shadow of night. Diana, the orange-haired woman, lets her try on her helmet. Mei Yin is shocked to see the night as if it was day, as well as the glowing outlines of nearby creatures. It's magic. Unable to understand the tribe's technology, she feels like a burden and tries to leave, asking Diana for some supplies. Diana agrees, but only if Mei Yin tries on a full set of her tech armor first. She is weary, but agrees. Upon donning the armor, she discovers that it enhances her reflexes, strength, and senses. Feeling as if she has been asleep her entire life, but has only now just awoke. Determined to learn and master this armor, she decides to stay. Helena and Rockwell arrive to Aberration through Rockwell's insistence that he saw what looked like molten edmonium through the control console back on Scorched Earth. He immediately sets off in search for his prize, stopping only to conduct research on the unique flora and fauna of this ark, concluding that the large presence of edmonium is directly responsible for the mutations and bioluminescence of present life. During their exploration, they are beset upon by flying squid bat monsters called Seekers. As the monsters close in, a figure in glowing silver armor tears through the beasts with shocking speed and strength. When this savior lifted its visor, Helena was stunned to see a familiar face, Mei Yin. She apologizes for punching Helena back on the island, and they both get along like old friends. Rockwell is appalled, unable to fathom how a primitive mind such as Mei Yin's was able to operate the platform on the island, let alone pilot a suit made of his precious edmonium. However, he composes himself, putting on an act, eager to meet the creators of this armor. When they make it back to camp, Helena is surprised to learn that this tribe is from the future. Well, her future that is, as she is from Rockwell and Mei Yin's future, so it was only logical to expect that she would meet someone from hers. Though she does find it odd that there are so many people from the same time period all together on one ark. Helena learns of the Gateway Project, the plan to hijack the obelisks to send them to Earth, and immediately raises concern, remembering Raya's words from Scorched Earth. The Ark will never allow anyone to master it. It will fight back, sending hordes of monsters to destroy them. Her concerns are eased when Diana tells her of how they managed to damage the control station, believing the threat to be contained. However, Helena puts together a small team to check the obelisks. Meanwhile, Rockwell conducts experiments with the tribe's stores of element, eventually purifying and melting it down into its raw and undiluted form. His experiments turn sinister when he injects a small creature with raw element. The creature quickly grows in size and strength. Diana, seeing this abomination, swiftly puts it down, angering Rockwell. Unable to gather new test subjects, Rockwell begins testing element on himself. Helena, Mei Yin, and Santiago arrive to the obelisk, noticing that it is pulsing wildly and causing the ground around it to shake. They decide to shut it down until needed by the Gateway Project, a feat only capable from deep within the heart of the Ark itself. Santiago reprograms the teleportation pad and the team proceeds inside. They make their way deeper into the station, discovering large rooms packed with specimen tubes containing creatures, eggs, and humans. Helena assumes that she may have come from a tube like this and questions her identity. She remembers a life back in Australia. Are all of those just fabrications by the station? She finds comfort imagining that the Ark is able to reach back in time and just copy someone. The entire team takes this discovery hard, especially Mei Yin. Imagine being from a time where gunpowder hasn't been invented yet, and then suddenly thrust into a place full of machinery capable of making people. It would be unfathomable. The team arrives to the control room. Santiago manages to shut down the obelisks just as loud roars tear through the silence. The station is aware of their tampering and is sending hordes of creatures in retaliation. The three of them escape through the portal just in time. During the venture back to camp, a distress call sounds over the radio. All that's audible is Diana's panicked shouts mentioning Rockwell. The base is in ruins, a hulking, colossal figure disappearing into the distance. Mei Yin, finding a wounded Diana, takes her up in her arms, but there is nothing she can do. She dies of her wounds, somehow still smiling up at her. But before she passed, she was able to identify the monster as Edmund Rockwell. Helena doesn't let Mei Yin go after Rockwell alone. They both gather weapons and ammo, then together track the monster into the depths of the station. They find a hulking monstrosity lashing out with flailing tentacles. They both fire into the hideous mass, and in his rage, Rockwell creates a hole in the cavern floor. With a final blow, Mei Yin and Helena force him through, causing him to fall to what they think is his death. Helena says her goodbyes, choosing not to remember him as the monster he became. but as the curious old man she looked up to back on the island. A couple weeks later, the Gateway project completes. Helena and Mei Yin, struggling to come to terms with the loss of old friends and lovers, decides that together, through friendship, they need to proceed. The Gateway activates, and they all step through together. After an unknown amount of time, it would appear that 6 graduate students from the early 2000s awoke on Aberration. They stumble around for some time, trying to make sense of this mysterious place. A few students meet their fate early on due to carelessness, wildlife, and betrayal. The remaining students manage to find 2 artifacts, as well as an abandoned base full of futuristic weaponry and equipment. The students in their exploration of the caverns mention the presence of an entity, a whispering in the mind that pulls them even deeper, like a siren song drifting up from the depths. Rockwell is alive.